Hello, class. I thought I would share a short video on finding sources that you can use for your paper that you will be writing this week. So let's look at a couple of places. The first one's going to be Google Scholar, and the second one is going to be EBSCO. Let's begin. First, let's talk about Google Scholar. This is the basic Google page, and we could start to type in searches for maybe a Rose or Emily or Araby, but it's going to give us a lot of garbage information. We're going to get websites that are not credible. We're going to get AI written material, and it's really not appropriate for what we're writing. So we want to find academic articles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Google Scholar, and we'll go to the Google Scholar website. So Google Scholar is going to bring in a lot of more academic articles that we can use. So here I can start my search. I'm going to type in Araby, James Joyce, and we can see we get a number of results here. Now we have to kind of sift through these. We can look at this first one, Araby and the Writings of James Joyce. If I click on that, it takes me to JSTOR, which brings up the article. But I'm looking at how to find the article. It says read online or read and download. This says log in through your school or library. A lot of these we're not going to have access to. So let's go back. The ones we want to look for are these that have the PDFs on the outside. Although you can see that this is a book, so we don't want to use a book. We're going to look at maybe these articles, multiple themes in James Joyce's Araby. So we could click on that. But one thing I would do is I would try to narrow the search. You can see that it's giving all of these different words that come after. We can look at Araby, James Joyce. Let's put in love. And now we can see it's bringing up different articles. A Shattering Epiphany in James Joyce's Araby. We might look at this one. This one is from Eric, which is the database, and we can click on download full text. This one we actually have access to. So the ones that show those PDFs on the outside, these are the ones that we want to use. Again, we're getting a lot that are not available. It can be frustrating because we might see a title that is exactly what we're looking for, but we don't have access to it. This is where we might go to EBSCO instead. To get to EBSCO, we're going to go to My Neosho. We're going to go up to Quick Links. You can see over here on the left, and then I'm going to scroll down to Chapman Library. The Chapman Library has a bunch of resources, but the one that we're going to be looking for is EBSCO. So if we click on EBSCO, it's going to ask us to log in. And this will be if you're accessing it from home. If you're on campus, you should be able to skip this step. And that brings us to the search bar, much like in Google. But for EBSCO, we're going to use what's called a Boolean search. So we need to include some parameters here. The first thing is in between each keyword, we're going to put the word and. So I'm going to look at Araby and Joyce and love. Now, if I want, I can put in synonyms for love, and I would indicate that through an or. So I'd put love or innocence and end parentheses. So what this is going to do is going to search through all of the articles that have the word Araby in it. Then it's going to say out of those articles, it also needs to have the word Joyce in it. And it also has to include the words love or innocence. Okay, so I'm going to do a search on here, but first I'm going to click full text. This is going to make sure that I only get the articles that are accessible through this database. And I'm going to click peer reviewed. So I only get academic articles that have been looked over by peers. Then I hit my search. And we can see we've got two results. Two results is too little. I want more. So what I might want to do is let's take off love or innocence, and let's just look at Araby and Joyce. And now I've got 18. 18 is a good number. You don't need this many in your essay, but if I only get two, I'm limited to those two, and I'm going to try to force them into my essay. So instead, I want more of a variety. Okay, so we look through these. These are all, again, available online. They all have this Access Now button. So I can click on this and actually go to the article. I think EBSCO is better for narrowing down to specifically what I'm looking for. Let's try another search. Let's go into lesson and Bambara, and I'm going to try innocence again. And what I can do here is I can actually put an asterisk after the N, and this will bring up innocence or innocent, anything that starts with these letters and then has a letter after it. So we can see there's nothing there with innocence. So I'm going to again back this off and just put in lesson and Bambara. I'm going to make sure that my full text is checked. And here we have three. So again, three isn't a lot. I'm looking for more. And we see this first one is not even related to the short story. So it is very specific in what it's looking for. But the things that it brings up are going to be those scholarly academic articles that we want. So between the two, between EBSCO and Google Scholar, you should be able to find articles to use to fulfill this assignment. I would suggest getting on this early. This is all that we have this week is working on this essay. If you're having trouble finding articles, please let me know in advance and I will see what I can find for you.